Hey everyone, Hero Wars Guide here to talk about cheating in Hero Wars. This is a topic I've been planning to talk about for months now, but I was going to do this big thing where I talk about every form of cheating out there and it was just going to be way too long. So I wanted to just put this together to talk about the general trends and maybe a couple of specific examples. I'll try to cover it as neutrally as I can, just here's what's going on without letting my own opinions about it leak in too much, but we'll see how that goes. Before I get too deep in anything, I do want to start by looking at the terms of service, where they claim that the use of third-party software or manipulating your connection is considered a severe offense, and explains that this is using this unauthorized third-party software or automation software to change the game process, use cheats, or get an unreasonable advantage. And then they explain that the consequence for violating those terms of service include blocking your access to the game either for a while or permanently, or updating your account to the status that it was in prior to you using the cheats. Alright, so those are the stated rules. However, what I've observed is usually the consequences for breaking these rules are absolutely nothing whatsoever. Generally speaking, you can do whatever you want, and there will be absolutely no consequences for any of this. You can develop and even sell access to your own software built around cheating in the game, and you can even record YouTube videos of yourself using it, and nothing will happen over the course of several years. And so now you're probably intuiting, what's my main point in this video, which is the gulf between what's stated will happen and what actually happens is enormous, and that's an unfortunate situation. I don't really care, or at least I don't think I care, which way they were going to go on whether these tools are allowed. Maybe they should leave it open where you do whatever you want and it's just fine, or maybe they should shut these things down, ban these accounts, roll them back to the status that they were in before they were cheating. But whichever way they want to go, I think they really ought to update these rules to match what they do, which is nothing, or leave these terms in place but then actually start acting like these rules were real by enforcing them. Either one, I think, fine, but giant gulf between them, that's a problem. Now, there are two exceptions that come to mind where they will actually do something about cheating. One I'll talk about a little bit later, but the second is that they will, on occasion, take action against people in their Discord server for talking about cheating. Using Hero Wars Simulator and Goodwin, I've never heard of anyone getting in trouble for using, and I think those are the two big ones, the two main ones that people are using. But I've never heard of anyone getting banned or rolled back for using them. But I have seen lots and lots and lots of people get banned from Discord for mentioning them, posting screenshots of them, maybe even not screenshots from their own use, but just kind of forwarding along something that someone else posted. Bringing awareness to those issues is really, it could be advertisement for the software, or it could be a helpful heads up to Nexters about abuses that are going on out there. But that entirely depends on how Nexters acts on that information. And so the fact that shining a light on these situations is a bannable offense, I think tells you, it gives you some insight in how they've decided to deal with it. But that's not to say that they're not doing anything at all about cheating. They don't seem to be enforcing any of their rules, but they do occasionally make modifications to the game to try to limit the effectiveness of the cheats. And we only have to go back a couple days in the game's history to see one example of that. This is a screenshot from the Augustus event that we just finished. So both Goodwin and Hero Wars Sim had functionality where, the main point of this event was just to grind over and over again on these boss attacks, using these lineups that had some slim chance of winning, but you try the same thing 100,000 times, hoping that you'll win the lottery and the attack will be a win. If there was ever an event format that kind of begged for cheater applications, this is it. So these programs, both Goodwin and Hero Wars Sim, would allow you to automatically retry the thing. You could retry the battle without having to click away at it, and you could do it thousands of times per hour automatically. So Nexters rolled out this error that you see on screen, where you're only allowed to try the boss 200 times in an hour. And so this is just one example of them taking what I think is an extremely misguided approach to shutting down this cheating by modifying the game instead of just enforcing the rules and applying some consequences for violating the terms of services. And the reason I think this was misguided is the very next day after this was rolled out, Hero Wars Sim had a solution where within one attempt, it would apply subtle manual variations to the attack, hundreds of them at a time within one attack attempt, so that effectively you'd get 100 or 200 or up to, I saw some people saying, 1,000 attempts per attack. So the sim users effectively had 20,000 or 100,000 attacks per hour one day after this error was rolled out to people. Meanwhile, I saw at least a dozen different people post screenshots of this error on the Discord server who were just manual users who came upon this thing grinding away at that event. So in the end, players who are following the terms of service get punished by this sort of thing, whereas the people using the cheating apps are not hindered at all. In fact, the app gets enhanced and works even better than it did before. So the problem is the people who make these things are just smarter than the people who make the game. And so the developers do things like this, and they're worked around almost immediately. Whereas if Nexters actually wanted to create deterrence, the way they'd achieve it is by applying consequences to using these cheats. You do this sort of nonsense, and honest players are punished. Cheaters have an enhanced app the next day. If you were to, say, delete every reward that someone got through automation, then people would probably think twice before using the next version of the app. All right, so that brings me to the second point. All right, so that brings me back to the other category I mentioned where they might actually enforce some of these rules. And the example of this one involves the Super Titans. Not long ago, they were given a second skin, and in this case, it was only available for unlock through purchase. You couldn't get it by Titan Skin Stones. You couldn't get it, I don't think, even from spending an event currency. You literally had to pay them money to unlock the skin. And forgive me if I have the example wrong. It might not have been the Eden, Araji, Hyperion. It might have been the Tenebris and Solaris. But anyway, one of these second skins for Super Titan was available only through purchase. However, a feature of Hero Wars Simulator allowed users to buy these skins even though the button was unclickable. It could still be opened up using the API and bypassing the unlock button. So some of these Hero Wars Sim users unlocked the skin through that approach without buying it. I think it charged them the Titan Skin Stones that it would ordinarily take to unlock a skin. And then some of them applied whatever it takes, however many 100,000 Titan Skin Stones to bring it up to level 60. And then Nexters detected that activity and deleted the second skin from anyone who had acquired it illegitimately, and any Titan Skin Stones that they might have used to level up that thing were also eliminated without any refund. So that, I think, was probably pretty effective application of their terms of service to roll back their account to the status that it was in before the cheating. And by effective, I mean the people who did that and had a full Titan skin deleted from their account are probably going to be a little hesitant before they try to do that same thing again in the future. Unfortunately, I think the only category of thing where they apply actual consequences are examples like this, where you specifically bypass a purchase option because you've kind of effectively taken money away from them rather than just cheating against other users in the game, which again, I've never seen any penalties enforced for. So on that point, they have more recently made this post where they say in competitive modes or rankings, they're going to introduce a new system to detect cheating, which is a little unfortunate because every time they seem to say anything about cheating, they weaken their position. Here they've specifically said they're only looking at competitive modes, which kind of implicitly says that you're fine to cheat in other places. But we'll see how this goes. As you may have noticed, I'm a little pessimistic, but I'm not going to believe it until I actually see it. I'm also interested to see what they consider as a competitive mode. For example, we have the Tournament of Elements here. This is a mode that literally has trophies, so you would think it's a competitive mode. But I know there's at least one user who has multiple accounts, I think at least 3, in the Tournament of Elements, both this week and last week, who's a regular third-party app user, at least I think last week as well. So we'll see if anything happens there. And the reason I know that they regularly use these apps is they ramble on Discord servers for about 16 hours a day, and about half the posts are discussions about violating the terms of services or posting screenshots of them using third-party tools, with most of the other half being some combination of Pepe memes and broken English. But anyway, I'm probably getting a little off topic there. But I'm interested to see how that goes, if that player is still around. For next week's Tournament of the Elements, then we know that this post was just yet another lie on the topic of cheating. Alright, sorry, I think I've caught myself here drifting a little bit away from my stated goal of neutrality, so I think I'll wrap it up there. Alright, so just to recap, there's a giant difference between what they say are the rules and the consequences, and what they actually enforce in reality. And that creates a really awful situation where you're kind of stupid not to cheat. And I know I don't want to feel like I'm playing a game stupidly, and you probably don't either. So they really ought to bring the policy and their actual practices in sync, one way or the other. Alright, but let me know what you guys think about it. Thanks as always for tuning in, and I'll see you again next time.